a Christian God become if simulation theory is viable?
I don't know if that would. I don't think it's likely at all in the first place, but I think that would probably make it more unlikely, right?
Well, I mean, if it's viable that there's an architect of the
Because
universe,
it could just be a program. It could just be a program. If it's a simulation, it could just be a programmed religion to keep the people content, and they did that different programmed religion in each area or something, right?
Right.
Or
but if it's a simulation
set the model, and this is just something that occurs in it, right? And maybe in the real world, people don't even have the thought of religion, right?
Right. And if it's just simulation theory, they
just do science, right? They interact with the world and reason around that.
Right. And
maybe God concept was never thought of, right?
Well, anytime it wants, it can like possess a random rock and become a rock monster and run around.
Right.
Oh, this was another interesting thing that I think that got sidetracked for a little bit that I think about a bit is Humean skepticism. So obviously miracles are by definition the least likely explanation for any event whatsoever. So Hume would say there is no rational grounds for believing any miracles ever, right? Because by definition they are the least likely and should never be, like, you can't consider it if you hold to any rational norms. But there's the question of, okay, well, what happens if God, let's say he appeared and he's like, hey, God, by the way, I'm real. Here I am resurrecting these people. Here I am doing all this stuff. Like, so what would it, like, a Humean skeptic say? Like, would you have to conclude that the most like probable situation is I'm hallucinating, or that I'm dreaming, or that, you know, because there's like alternative.
Yeah, but not if there's 1,000 years of prophecy first, right?
Well, I don't want to get into all that. I was just talking about, you know, Humean skepticism. I thought was an interesting concept because it rules out your thing, but it also says, well, if I let's say I get resurrected, right, and I face the great white throne, and some people are thrown into like fire, and some people, like, at that point, am I supposed to like say, well, maybe it's true, or am I hallucinating, or like what would Hume say like in such a situation?
Hello, gentlemen.
Oh, it's an Eric.
Hey, Eric.
Yeah.
Two Erics.
Yeah. Hey, that's not fair.
You realize what simulation theory is, right?
Go on.
Well, simulation theory is that we're living in something that was designed and constructed.
Yeah, that was Catholic's point. He said, well, if there's a simulation, then most likely we might as well call this thing God, sort of, maybe.
Yeah. There's an obvious God if it was designed and constructed.
That's not a Christian God.
How do you know?
If it was designed in, so I don't. First off, I don't hold the simulation theory, but
well, it doesn't matter.
Simulation theory was the case, and this would be the product of either computers or something of that nature. That
well, where do you get that?
Okay,
we
if you're going to interrupt.
Well, computers didn't design.
I don't mind you talking here, but if you're going to talk over people, I'm just not going to engage with you.
Oh, look at that! Really as much as I get talked over, okay. But yeah, guys,
and then talked over me during my response.
Well, I get that all the time from 4 of you. Okay, so here's the point, guys.
Wait, 4 of us? What did I do?
Oh, maybe you didn't this time. No, I apologize.
I've never talked to you before.
Yeah.
But there's 4 of them up here all the time.
Anyway, I gotta run. But Catholic, I'm not trying to duck out of the Bible contradictions thing. I posted a spreadsheet in the private chat there that has a list of contradictions, including some between the New Testament and Old Testament. And I need to go because it's getting late and I gotta go to bed. But I'd love to talk to you about it later on.
Definitely.
Bedtime. Have a good one, Eric. Thanks for coming.
Cool. Thanks, guys, for the chat. Catch you later.
Good chat, man.
Bye-bye.
So, yeah, simulation theory theorizes that when we look at our own internet, for instance, we know that somebody creates these programs. They don't just form themselves. They don't just fall together randomly. We don't have computers and internet and simulations forming themselves anywhere on Earth. You can't point to that occurring. The thought is just ridiculous. There's obviously an intelligence that puts it all together. There's obviously a designer that designs. There's an engineer that builds. So simulation theory is obviously promoting the thought that this happens. This is put together by an intelligence.
Just so I know, you deny evolution, correct?
Well, I say evolution is impossible. What I'm saying is, okay, look, I can't say evolution is impossible. That's kind of a ridiculous thing to say. I think anything can happen. But what I do say is you don't have any credible evidence to put on the table that's tested. For instance, your theory of common ancestry. You look at the DNA of the chimpanzee, you look at the DNA of the human being, and you develop the hypothesis, and that's fine. You hypothesize that we have a common ancestor.
We see a bunch of other early hominids, though, right?
Well, my point.
All right. The chat has taken over. We got a $2 donation to mute Eric for 2 minutes. So, Eric, give me a second. I'm going to start the timer here. If I can find it.
Sorry, Eric.
All right. So, Eric, you've got a 2-minute timer here starting now.
Okay. Where do you want to take this breakfast taco?
Thank you for the super chat, David Ramsby. I greatly appreciate that. What was the question?
Where do you want to take this? So, simulation theory does not make God.
It's a red herring. If you're saying that a simulation theory creator is a Christian God creator, then that's no different than some Christian that claims that the universe is God, right?
Yeah, wouldn't necessarily
claiming that a pantheist believes in the Christian God or something, right?
Yeah, but I would say the openness of atheists to simulation theory is special pleading for not being as open to a Christian God.
I don't think simulation theory is the case, but that would also not be special pleading if the data was to suggest that and they held that position.
Yeah, but if it's more when they say like it's impossible for X, Y, or Z reason, and then you go, oh well, all these things are impossible if you apply it to a Christian God, but if you apply it to a simulation from a simulator, all of a sudden those same data points, it depends on the exact argument. You're not making it, so it's not that interesting to say.
I'm just not I don't hold that position.
Right. Where do you want to take this? Where do you want to go?
I'm sure that when Eric gets unmuted, he's going to continue saying stuff about simulation theory and saying that if you believe in simulation theory, that you think a Christian God exists. Hayden Walton asked a good question though. So are Christian apologists going to gravitate to simulation theory now? I hope not. That's just another red herring in conversation. They already have so many red herrings that they employ. That'd be really annoying. All right, Eric, you're back. Welcome back, brother. Good to have you.
I don't make the claim that simulation theory proves the Christian God, but I do say that it ruins the atheist argument that there is no God. I think they have to accept the fact that a simulation theory were true. Dr. James Gates, the mathematician and theoretical physicist that found these codes buried in the architecture of simulation theory, or not simulation theory, but supersymmetry. He declares that they are there, and that this is actual evidence of a design. So how can you say there's no designer? How can you say there's no architect? So it ruins the atheist argument to try. The red herring is to say it doesn't prove the Christian God. That's not my.
Do you want to walk along a beach with me, Eric?
Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. So, hang on. I have a background for this. Give me a minute. I gotta find it real fast. You can keep talking for a minute while I try to find this background. I need this background because it will help you to visualize.
Well, I've got another argument as well. I mean, it's not just simulation theory. When we look at you brought up evolution, and my point with the common ancestry is that you look at the DNA of the chimp and the human being, and you claim a common ancestry, and that's okay if you want to believe that. But now, if you're going to put your hypothesis to the test, there's only one test that has the ability to falsify that.
Don't we have like 3% Neanderthal DNA too, right?
Absolutely. And that's another problem for the atheist or the evolutionist. But, when your problem with falsification is this, your observation is the DNA. Your hypothesis is that we have a common ancestor. But you can't point to a common ancestor. And not only that, what's worse is you certainly don't have his DNA to test that theory.
Okay, I found it.
So you don't have the wherewithal to test any of your theories on common ancestry. None of them. If you want to test the common ancestry between, like, for instance, the Pakicetus to the whale, that's fine if you want to believe that. I have no problem with that. But if you're going to call it science and say that they're related and go along with the Berkeley University and say that Pakicetus is an early whale, then you've got a serious problem because you don't have the DNA to test any of that. So you've got a major problem, guys. A major problem.
Are you ready for the watchmaker analogy?
Well, I don't need that. I'm just looking at the science.
Well, you said I could walk along the beach with you.
You can do whatever you like.
Okay. So this is a totally separate point in the simulation theory thing that you're saying. Now, I don't think that simulation theory is the case, but I'm trying to explain to you something very clearly so that you can understand it. So imagine that you and I are holding hands and we're on the most beautiful beach, right? And so we're holding hands on the beach. And we're walking along the beach talking about how amazing it is, right? And then I ask you, so what is the sand made of, Eric? What would be your answer?
Sand is just granules of rock.
Yeah, it's pre-existing stuff. It forms from pre-existing stuff. What is the water made of, Eric?
H2O.
So hydrogen and oxygen atoms, right?
Yeah.
So it's formed of pre-existing stuff through natural processes, right? Now you and I continue walking along the beach, and I see something in the sand over there. What is that? It looks like it's sticking out. You see we're still holding hands, by the way, but you see a watch over there sticking out. I fucked it up. But you see a watch sticking out of the sand, right? Now, I fucked up the part of the analogy because it's been so long since I've had to do the watchmaker analogy to explain something to somebody. But basically, normally I ask, or I say that there is a round silver object sticking out of the sand, and every time, and it's got a face on it, and it's got numbers and whatnot, and so. Normally, every time they say it's a watch, immediately when I ask, what is that? Right. And so the point of that part of the analogy that I fucked up is that even in an analogy, you know the difference between something that's natural and created, although I fucked that up. So this might not stick to you because you didn't answer that part. But so you go and you pick up the watch, right? And you look at the watch. So do you know how a watch was made, Eric?
Mm-hmm.
How is a watch made, Eric?
Well, I know basically how a watch is made. You take an old Swiss dude and you give him some parts and he puts it together. Yeah.
And what are the parts made of, Eric?
Machined parts that were machined out of metal from another person, gold or whatever.
And that's mined from the earth, right?
Right.
So in both examples, the primary constituent was formed by pre-existing stuff. In the example of something that's created, it's formed natural. The stuff that is being created is created from stuff that was formed naturally through natural processes, right? And then you have this first gen creator, right? This human that comes in and they forge the metal and they make the parts and they tan a cow and they put this all together and they make a watch out of it, right?
Yeah,
And
don't
so
forget the
you
miner. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and so you have this first gen creator that did that. But the point of the analogy is that, well, one, in every possible thing that would pop up for like sand, water, anything that you would deem to be natural, you automatically know based on your experience and the knowledge that's available to us as a human race that that is formed from pre-existing stuff through natural processes. And even in the case of stuff that's created, every single thing that's ever been created has been created from stuff that's been formed through natural processes. In 100% of the instances.
Okay.
So
and-
when you're talking about creation in the ways that you are, it's totally nonsensical because everything appears to come from pre-existing stuff in every example.
Well, I think that's a little bit short-sighted there, because you have to have a beginning to everything. Okay, we have the Big Bang. Big Bang kind of proves the beginning to our universe.
Didn't a Catholic priest come up with it?
Well, sure.
Do you think that the
Did
Big
I say
Bang
I disagreed with the Big Bang?
nothing, Eric?
Did I say I disagreed with the Big Bang?
Do you
No.
think that the Big
Let's
Bang is
give you,
something from nothing, Eric?
let's give you the Big Bang. Okay, let's give you the Big Bang. Now, that Big Bang came from somewhere. What you're insisting is that you have this singularity that occurs on something that was pre-existent, some pre-existent dot in the air that might have been the size of a pinhead needle or something, and it expanded into everything that we see today, with no real clue as to what caused it. They say, well, gravity inverted. Okay, well, show me the gravity inversion that's going to create everything that you see today.
Eric, do you think the Big Bang is something from nothing?
No. But here's my point.
Do you think that the science says that the Big Bang is something from nothing?
Here's my point.
So you understand that it's stuff from pre-existing stuff.
Well, here's my point. It starts off as a pinhead needle, according to many scientists. And then it expands into everything you see today. So here's the point. Something had to last forever. And everything had to come from this, whatever it is, be it God or that pinhead needle. Okay? Now, bear me out for just a moment.
You're just saying that stuff can begin to exist when in fact it would have, because you're going to go to your God thing, when stuff would have always necessarily had to have existed.
You don't know where I'm going with this. I guarantee.
I do.
No, you don't. You've never heard this argument.
Okay. Surprise me.
So, one of two things has to be true. Either everything sprung from this singularity, or everything sprang from a God. Everything that you see. Everything we can point to. Now, let's think about that for just a moment. In biology or anything else that you point to.
I mean, that's a false dichotomy, but we'll grant it for the purposes of conversation.
How is that a false dichotomy?
Because there could have been other options.
What other option?
CCC, which is conformal cosmologic, or dang it, I keep freaking what's his name jacked me up on that. Hang on. Conformal I cannot speak. Conformal cyclic cosmology. So that's
And-
proposed by Sir Roger Penrose. It's a cyclical universe.
And
Sorry,
what's
I
that?
watched Stephen
Oh.
Myers earlier talk about it, and he named it wrong and jacked it
And-
up in my brain.
And what exactly is that?
The
It
universe repeats itself.
You're right. That's kind of an infinite regression, right?
I mean, there's nothing wrong with
Okay.
an infinite regress.
Okay. Well, it's the same point. It started from you're claiming.
I
But all
claim
of
a
this
necessary being. I think that the fundamental state of the universe is the necessary being it
Well,
would have to, despite its own
Penrose-
nature, right? But I'm saying that there are actual theories supported by math for
7,000 women used this salt trick last month. Here's why. We all thought it was another TikTok trend until the pounds actually started dropping. I did it as a joke. Then I lost 10 pounds in 6 days. The full step-by-step. It's finally public for a limited time. Don't wait. How did I do it? Just by using salt and ice in a very particular way. Seriously, my friends were dying to know what I'd done. I couldn't handle all the DMs anymore. They were getting mad at me, demanding I tell them exactly what I did to transform so fast. So I finally shared a video explaining how this new way of using salt and ice helped me slim down insanely fast. I made the tutorial super simple step-by-step so anyone can follow it. So if you want to lose weight without eating salad all day, without going to the gym, and without surgery, you need to watch this now. Seriously, try this little recipe for just 5 days and see what happens. Now I'm back to wearing outfits I hadn't fit into in years, and I feel amazing in my body. Click the button below and watch the special and free video that walks you through the whole thing, including the secret ingredient. But hurry, because for some reason, my video's already been taken down 4 times since yesterday. Why doesn't the weight loss industry want you to see this? Tap the blue Learn More button and start changing your body today.
several different ideas.
Okay, well let's not overtalk one another.
And not all of those ideas are the 2 ideas that you're saying.
Well, let me point out that yeah, it's the same idea because the cyclic thing that Penrose talks about is an infinite regression that still
Well, there's
says
a bunch of different
that
positions. Though,
if I could finish my statement, it's still says that everything that you see sprang from that singularity. Okay, everything. So one of the 2 things has to be true. Everything sprang from either God or from this singularity. Now, if we consider what we can actually observe in science, we observe this, that nothing can pass on anything that it doesn't contain. For instance, a single-celled organism cannot create mitosis.
Are you familiar with the holographic principle?
Well, hold on just a moment.
Are you familiar with the holographic principle?
Dude, I'm trying to explain my point.
Answer my question. Are you familiar with the holographic principle?
I don't know which holographic principle you're referring to, number 1. And number 2,
So the holographic principle
number
is
2, I'm already
a
bought
principle in
out.
quantum mechanics that is actually used on black holes currently, but it's basically saying that the excuse me, the best analogy I can give so that it's easy to understand is the volume of, if you had a cereal box, if you had the volume of a cereal box, if you had a cereal box and you measured the outside of it, you should theoretically be able to calculate all of the information inside of the cereal box, right? And we know that this works on black holes. And so theoretically, at least based on the quantum physics that we have, everything in the universe, all the information would be calculable from that single point and would still exist in that single point, right? And so, at least based on the science for what you're asking, it seems to be the case that that single point likely contained all the information in the universe just as itself.
Okay, well, here's the point. When you look at biology or anything else, you can't, like a single-celled organism cannot give rise to a multicellular organism. Some people claim that.
I don't care. I don't care about your claims. It's totally off topic about what we're
Hold on.
talking about.
No, it's not. It's an example. What I'm saying is, some people disagree with this, and they say, "Well, look, this single-celled organism produced a multicellular organism."
Yeah, we know they did. Evolution is true. Nobody
that
cares.
is an exaggeration, and it's not true, because what we actually see happening in nature is this single-cell organism continually produces another sister cell through mitosis. You have a single cell that splits into two sister cells that are identical, and they split into 4, they split into 8, and then they begin to, in some cases, if I could finish there,
if you guys want me to talk to this guy,
in some cases,
I'm just saying,
in some cases, they continue to protect themselves from predators.
I need someone to like donate something saying that they actually want me to talk to this guy, because this guy is insane.
Okay, so you don't want to answer it. That's cool. My whole point to this is that
right, he has failed to provide a competitive
the singularity
hypothesis or
not just matter,
alternative explanation of evolution
based
on the evidence. Okay, you're not going to interrupt me. So he has failed to provide a competitive scientific hypothesis or an alternative explanation of evolution based on the data that's available. He's just trying to poke holes. We know this stuff that he's naming happens. Nobody cares about that. I don't know why you.
How do you know it happened?
We have an insurmountable amount of evidence. There's a freaking mountain of evidence. I don't know why you're pivoting, though, from the beginning of the universe to evolution. It's not analogous to the beginning of the universe. All that information was encoded not encoded, but would have been contained theoretically in a calculable way within the volume of that initial state, right? So I don't get why you would even bring this up.
It sounds to me like you're becoming nervous and hostile.
I'm not nervous. I'm definitely hostile, though. I am very annoyed because you're going into evolution, which is a red herring from what we're talking about.
Anything at all that's credible and tested to put on the table to back your hypotheses.
Back up here and finish.
Got a tough welding job? Titanium welders from Harbor Freight make it easy, quick to set up, dual voltage compatible, and built with advanced inverter tech for clean, consistent welds. Built to perform, priced to save. Only at Harbor Freight.
That's just ridiculously wrong. That's what I'm proving. You don't have anything on the table in the first place to back your theory. Nothing.
Which one?
Evolution, for instance.
Okay, I'm not talking. You're a crazy person. I'm not talking to you about
evolution.
I'm a
crazy
Eric, what do you think of the Pope?
I don't pay any attention to the Pope.
Why not?
I don't have an opinion on the Pope. I don't know.
You're neutral on the Pope.
Yeah, I haven't read the first thing about the Pope.
Okay. What kind of Christian are you?
I am a non-denominational Christian.
So Southern Baptist.
Nope, non-denominational. Do you understand what that means?
Normally means Southern Baptist.
No. Southern Baptist is a denomination.
What do they disagree with the Southern Baptists on?
What's that?
What do you disagree with the Southern Baptists on?
Oh my God, they're paying me to talk to you. This stream sucks, Eric. Oh man. All right. So we're gonna go back on topic. So evolution was a red herring from the initial state of the universe. You said that
it
were
was
two
simply an
possibilities:
example.
that a God created a universe, or that everything in the universe was contained within the Big Bang, or was a product of the Big Bang. And that second one seems much more likely based on the preponderance of the evidence.
Yeah, based on your bias, maybe. Okay, so let's look at this. You're claiming, is there anything on a star that is alive? Is our sun alive?
It's not comparable. Why would you ask that?
I'm just asking. Sun alive? Yes or no? It's a very simple question.
All right, David Ram Mosby told me to mute you for 2 minutes, so I'm muting you for 2 minutes. I might not be able to mute you. I might have to kick you to backstage. Oh, there it goes. It's working now. So 2-minute timer started now, but he wants me to address your pivots. So I already addressed one, but I'll readdress it. So evolution, the scientific theory of evolution, is supported by mountains of evidence. Mountains. In every field that is capable of testing it. There is nothing saying that evolution is not the case in any of the sciences at all. Nothing at all. There's you're just saying that you disagree with some of the science, right?
You have to deny the fossil record, even. Yeah.
I think you brought up the Piltdown Man yesterday, if I'm not mistaken, or the day before, and we pointed out that the same processes that they determined that the Piltdown Man was a fraud, and I may be mixing you up with somebody else on that one, but the processes that determined that the Piltdown Man was a fraud were the same processes that were used to determine that other aspects of evolution align with certain species, right? And so that seems very contradictory there. And then you asked if there was life on the sun. No, there is not life on the sun. The sun, the reason there's life on Earth is because the sun is providing photons to Earth on a regular basis. You've got 37 seconds left. Did I address all of his pivots? Anybody? Did I miss anything?
I think you did. So you got to switch to a new topic fast before he's back on.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't mind talking about the early formation of the universe, but I've been asking him for days to provide me a competitive hypothesis against evolution based off of the data that evolution explains, or a alternative explanation of evolution that's supported by the same data. That it would be a better explanation of evolution, right? And he's failed to provide either. All right, the 2 minutes is up.
Really quickly,
all right, Eric,
Taco,
you are free.
Thank you.
What's up?
Just really quickly, do you think the universe is eternal, or do you think it has a beginning, or are you suspending judgment on that currently?
I claim a necessary being. I think necessary being the initial state of the universe being necessary is likely.
No, I'm saying, did it begin, or is it eternal?
I think it would be considered eternal in that case, because it would have just always existed. It couldn't fail to exist. It would exist by its own nature. Sufficiently explains everything in the universe.
It's a pretty crazy nature to have, though, if it's eternal. Like, what kind of thing there's nothing else we know of that's eternal. So why would that be eternal?
Because the stuff exists and nothing can't exist.
So because something came from nothing, therefore the special type of matter
that
exists? Nothing
can't exist.
I'm glad to hear you say that, actually. I'm glad to hear you say nothing can't exist. I really am. And just to allay your suspicion that I brought up Piltdown Man sometime back, no, I didn't.
It might have been somebody else. I'm sorry, but I thought it was you. My bad.
No problem. But okay, let me just address one more time that to tell you don't have any credible tested evidence to throw on the table to back your hypotheses on evolution, I don't need another explanation to tell you that. It's up to you to develop your hypothesis and test it in the first place.
Well, evolution has an overwhelming amount of evidence supporting it, or I guess it's
But-
explaining an overwhelming amount of evidence, right? And
That's
so,
what you say, but you
even
don't have
even if
anything to
evolution
test it.
gets falsified, the point I've been trying to make to you is that even if evolution gets falsified, there is still a preponderance of evidence that would have to be explained. And so that's why I'm saying I want to know what your alternative explanation of that data is. And you're just saying, I dismiss all the data. Nobody cares if you dismiss all the data.
Hold on a
Data
second.
exists. It is verified by all the sciences. I'm asking you, what is your alternative explanation of that data? And
Listen to what you just said, though. You said that there is a preponderance of evidence, even if evolution is falsified. That's a contradictory statement.
No, it's not.
If you don't have any evidence at all, if you don't have any evidence at all that you can throw on the table that has been tested and verified that and repeatable, then you don't have any evidence to throw on the table. None.
It's still a red herring. I just don't care about discussing evolution with you. You made a false dichotomy. I directly addressed your false dichotomy in multiple ways, and then you pivoted to evolution.
Hey, let me let you in on a secret real quick. This stuff right here is something that you want to add into your repertoire because Blue Chew is my new go-to. All I'm gonna say is this is something that you definitely want to add into your inventory, but just be ready. So look, go ahead and click this video and you let me know what you think. But one thing you're not gonna do is regret getting it.
And I've addressed your pivot to evolution.
You're calling falsifiability of your theory a red herring.
Can I ask Eric a question that might
have nothing to do with the natural formation of the universe?
Now, we'll come back to the universe, but I just want to point out that you're pointing out what you're stating is that it's a red herring to point out the fact that you don't have anything that's tested to throw on the table. Like, for instance, transitional fossils.
It's literally just not worth the time to discuss evolution with you because you're delusional about science.
I'm delusional for asking you for your tested evidence.
Eric,
when you ask me for tested evidence,
evolution is the most supported theory in science. It has a preponderance of evidence.
What is that testable evidence?
And if you prove somehow that the explanation of that data is an incorrect explanation of the data that explanation was explaining still exists, and you still need to explain the data. The data would have to have an explanation to replace the theory of evolution. Because
I'm still waiting on you to give me
the scientific method would address this is if you falsified it, you would probably end up providing a better explanation of the data, not necessarily a competing hypothesis. You may find a better way to explain evolution.
I'm still waiting on you.
It is a delusion when you say that evolution doesn't have data.
I didn't say it doesn't have data. I said you don't have any tested evidence that you can put on the table. None.
All right, and there is a super chat, and I'm sorry, the super chat tracker isn't tracking it. I said it only goes up to 3 hours. But Brilliant asks, and because of capitalism, you have to answer this. Eric, provide an alternative, equally predictive methodology to support the diversity of life on Earth without begging the question.
Creation. And you know,
That was begging the question.
I
Try
have
again.
just as much tested evidence as you do.
That was begging the question. Try again.
I have just as much tested evidence as you do to put on the table. Just as much.
So, what's the predictive methodology of creation?
Well, when you show me the DNA test that says the Archaeopteryx is related to the theropod dinosaur, the DNA
You're
test
just shifting the
proves
burden of proof. This is a
no,
question
no.
for
I'm
you,
just
Eric.
saying you have as much tested evidence as I do. So let's not be hypocritical.
This is a question from a viewer that they paid
And
money because of
fine.
capitalism to ask you this question.
And that was
And
my
because
answer.
of capitalism, you have to answer the question. So
I
they're
certainly
asking
did.
for an alternative, equally predictive methodology to support the diversity of life on Earth without begging the question. You said creation. So what is that predictive methodology?
Creation. Look,
So
if God created, then we do have. Let's look at, can we test the claims of the Bible? Okay. The scripture says that God created everything after its own kind. In other words, dogs bring forth dogs, elephants bring forth elephants, human beings bring forth human beings. Okay, now if that's true, that's all we are going to observe in real life, in the laboratory, in present time. And that's the way it happened all the way down through history.
So the
Now,
Bible,
I just had a
do see-
revelation.
What we do see,
about how theist brains work.
if I could finish just a moment here, guys, I'm almost done.
Eric,
I promise you, I'm almost done.
Elucidated the truth to me.
I promise you, I'm almost done. If you look down through the fossil record, I can show you fossils of the giant beaver and then the small beaver. You've got the giant duck-billed platypus and the small modern-day duck-billed platypus. You've got these huge spiders. You've got the small spiders. You've got the huge Titanoboa snake. You've got the small snakes, modern day. So you've got the giant gorilla. You've got the smaller gorilla today.
There's a giant gorilla?
Yeah. So what you got, guys, is the very same thing, except you've got the giant dragonflies back then. You've got the smaller dragonflies today. You've got the giant flies back then, the smaller flies today. You've got the very same thing all the way down the line without any. We've got alligators, crocodiles that are ancient, fossilized. And you've got the crocodile today with no signs
You
of
believe in the
evolution.
fossil record, generally?
What's that?
You generally believe in the fossil record?
That was where I was going to go. So do you think that if you dig down deeper into the Earth, you're going to find is there a predictive methodology for this? Like where you'd be able to predict that you would find a giant beaver at this many years worth of deepness in the soil, or however they do that?
Well, I believe that your idea of the geologic column is an interesting idea, but I don't believe it holds water.
So what is the predictive methodology then?
Well, look, what you're effectively doing is taking the case that I'm making, and you're trying to dissuade it into other questions that we're not even discussing.
It's what I'm discussing. Answer the question.
The case that I was making here, I thought this was an open debate.
That doesn't mean you
the debate that I'm opening.
Eric, it doesn't mean you engage on a topic and then change a topic every time you're getting hammered.
Well, I wasn't getting hammered. I was using biology as an example.
What is the predictive methodology? That was the question at hand. That's a capitalist way.
Our original discussion, I've already explained that. And our original discussion
capitalist way, Eric.
I've already answered that. How many times do you want me to answer?
They asked for a predictive methodology, and you have failed to provide a predictive methodology.
Well, according to you, and I disagree. Okay, so there you go.
What are the predictions it makes?
Oh, we can predict that it's going to. You're going to be able to explain this in real life in science. Now, what we don't see,
So you're appealing to mystery?
no.
I guess that's not special pleading.
I said you can't point to anything evolving into another animal group. For instance, your claim is that fish, for instance, gave way to what? Amphibians, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
it was fish,
Amphibians gave way to reptiles. Reptiles gave way to
dinosaurs,
mammals.
mammals.
Yeah, you just don't see this happening in
to us.
nature. And you can't point to it happening
You
today.
literally do, which is the point, which is why
No,
I
you literally
don't
do
care
not.
about talking about
Then
evolution.
give
with
me an
you,
example of something
because
that
you're
you see.
arriving at your conclusions via fallacious reasoning.
Okay,
and
if
then
you
you're
see
saying
something
the
evolving into another
side
animal,
that's supported by a preponderance of evidence
look
is
at
it
you
purported,
just
or is
saying
it
yes,
supported
it
by a
happens.
preponderance of evidence,
Look at
and
you
then
just
you're refusing to explain the evidence.
look
And
at
then
you
with
just
your claims you're making, you're also failing to provide any predictive modeling.
Want to try terzepatide?
So this is terzepatide, and it is the #1 weight loss medication available right now. This is not only a GLP-1, but a GIP medication, which means it hits 2 hormones at once. So if you're looking for the best weight loss medication you can get, terzepatide is the one. And if you're looking to get access to this, you can just take the quiz below, and we will ship this out within 24 hours to your door, just like that.
The actual journey of helping your hair, it is a lot easier than you'd think.
Hims definitely worked.
I didn't expect so much hair to come back.
I went to the Hims website. Within 10 minutes, I was talking to a provider.
I started to see results in the first 2 to 3 months. Even when I'm running and my hair is sweaty, I do not have to worry about what it looks like.
And I don't have a white shiny spot anymore. Start today at hims.com.
look at you just saying it happens without throwing any example at all on the table where it did.
What was the question?
I said, look at you just proclaiming it happened without giving us any example of where it did.
So, Eric, can I
I
ask
don't
you a
need to.
question?
It's the most supported theory in science.
Oh, so you don't need to test your pet theory in anything.
No, I don't
That's
need to
you,
talk to
dude.
a crazy person about a topic he doesn't understand.
Well, I
and
certainly understand
deal
it.
with absolute nonsense. I mean, you're not providing any predictive modeling. You're not providing a competitive hypothesis. You're not
I don't
providing a better
need-
way to explain the data.
I don't need a competitive hypothesis to show that you don't have a thing that's been tested to throw on the table as what you call evidence.
Hey,
You,
Eric,
you
when new
claim all
islands,
this evidence, but you're not producing a thing.
when
Do
new
you accept
islands pop up,
microevolution, Eric?
That I'm talking about tested example of
Do you accept
actual.
microevolution, Eric?
I'm talking about a tested example. You're claiming,
Do
for
you
instance.
accept microevolution, Eric?
See, he doesn't want to answer the question, guys.
Do you accept microevolution, Eric?
He doesn't. He wants to take us away from evolution and the universe.
Do you accept microevolution, Eric?
can I try a question here? Okay.
Sure.
So, Eric, like if a new island comes up, which happens all the time in the geologic record, and there's stuff unique to that island, does God intervene and do new creation, halfway through creation to make new stuff on the island? Or like how do new islands work that have unique species?
Give me an example.
I mean, just like the Galapagos Islands that Darwin found, right? Where they have, unique giant lizards, they have the unique giant tortoises, they have the unique finches. Like, are you saying that when those islands originally weren't above the water, or do you think those islands were just always there?
And what do you mean by unique finches?
So there's like these finches that are unique to, like, every island has its own type of finch that are nowhere else in the world, right? So in those
You
finches,
could just point to kiwi that would have required millions of years of evolution, or maybe not millions, but hundreds of thousands of years of evolution to get to that point, at least separated.
Now, what is the difference between these finches and any other finch in the world?
very different beaks, very different bodies, very different everything. Yeah, wholly
Okay.
different species.
Now let's look at his observations. In his observations, Darwin saw what?
So I mean, so was creation just at the first point in time,
Right,
or
right.
is it throughout time intervenes and recreates new?
What did Darwin actually note about these finches?
Just about everything, right? Like if you look at the fossil record, there's a time beyond which no birds existed, right? So birds are new; they're not. You can go back in
No,
time.
what I'm asking is, what exactly did Darwin note about the finches? Let's talk specifically.
That there's unique species that seem fit to this environment and only exist in this environment.
So you don't actually know what he actually noted about the finches.
Well, it's like the beaks are fitting for the certain food in front of them, right?
Okay. So what Darwin noticed is, we can talk finches and moths here.
Giant tortoise. What are the giant tortoises?
Are you going to let me speak? Can I answer you?
Sure.
Okay, thank you. So you have these finches, and during one season, you've got bugs that are easily grabbable off the barks of the trees. And then the weather changes, and some of those bugs die out, and the finch has to go deeper into the bark in order to feed from these trees. And so, yes, their beaks adapt, and they grow a little bit bigger, a little bit longer, and they're able to peck down into that bark and grab their food. But then when the weather changes again, and there's more beaks that are easily available on the barks of the trees for a few years on the surface of the bark, then their beaks begin to revert back to the shorter beaks. That happens. Now, then you have moths.
So you're saying that
you might have one group of moths that that are darker, and in the same population you have groups of moths that are lighter in the same population of moth, same type of moth. Now, you may have a predator that comes and he starts concentrating on that particular portion of the island, or in fact, they may have increased their population. And so they see these light moths real easily on these dark trees. And the population of the light moth goes down, the population of the dark moth increases. That's normal. He called that evolution when it's just something that's going to happen naturally. It's not even that they're evolving, it's that the predators are eating the ones that are lighter and easy to be seen. So once those predators leave, however, or once, whatever the case may be, that situation changes, then the lighter ones can make a bounce back, and that happens. And as far as the finches are concerned, it's been observed that those beaks grow back to their shorter length when they're able to pick the bugs off of the surface of the bark. So there you go, guys. Now, what I wanted to get back to is this: when it comes to the universe, one of two things has to be true. Either everything evolved from that little pinprick that expanded, or there is a creator God. One of the two things have to be true. And if you want to throw that into an infinite regression, that doesn't change those two facts. So let's examine this. You're saying that life and consciousness, intelligence, abstractness, it all came from this little singularity. So I ask you, was there life inside that singularity? You're talking about a pinprick that's supposed to be held together with such super gravity that it was able to expand into everything you see. And yet you're going to claim there was life there and intelligence and
real fast
consciousness.
So
No.
Eric, real fast, Professor Hizzle just, and also people, capitalism definitely helps with the headache. So feel free to ask more questions for Eric so I don't have to. But Professor Hizzle asked you, Eric, do you enjoy Rammstein and or Guar?
Well, I do like a lot of music. I do. I like Nightwish, for instance, and I'm basically a classic rock kind of a guy myself. But that's
what about Rammstein or Guar?
Well, not really my cup of tea, man. I do like Nightwish a lot, and I do like Pink Floyd, Led Zeppelin, AC/DC a lot. That's my cup of tea.
Is Nightwish the one that played a song with Hasselhoff?
Hasselhoff? I don't think so. No.
Yeah, Hasselhoff did a banging metal song.
No. Nightwish. Look him up, guys.
It's Q-Stack. I'm sorry, it's a different band. His song was Through the Night. I'm sorry, it was just throwing me off.
I recommend Phantom of the Opera by Nightwish. It's absolutely, it's metalized, guys, and it's really, really good. So you might like that.
You know Guar, so you get 5.
I'm Kristen, and this is Daisy. Now that Daisy's getting older, I just wanted to make sure that she can stay strong and healthy.
Thanks to the pre- and postbiotics and Red Barn's air-dried gut support, your dog's immune system may be getting stronger.
Every dog deserves Red Barn.
What were you thinking for salary?
What were you thinking for salary?
Well, what were you thinking about salary?
What were you thinking?
Extra points, they said.
Well, thank you. I would suggest to their lead singer is a female. Her name was Flor Jansen or something like that. She's Norwegian or something. And man, is she awesome. You can find them on YouTube though. I recommend giving them a listen. So they put together the most spectacular shows. It's more like a production. It really is a production. But getting back to my argument, you're suggesting that all life and consciousness and etc. came from this inanimate singularity.
Yeah,
And
that was the point of the watchmaker analogy.
yeah, well, let's think about this for a moment. How is the singularity that doesn't possess life, how is it going to produce life? How is it going to, it's not conscious, so how's it going to produce consciousness?
Through thermodynamics.
Through thermodynamics. Well, let's see thermodynamics produce consciousness and life. Let's see it.
We did.
No, you didn't. You never observed that. Okay, you
can literally
theorize.
make a baby, Eric. Do you have a child?
Hold on, though. My point
Do you
is,
have any children, Eric? You can literally make a baby.
look at what you do, though. What you do is not scientific at all, Taco. What you do is make the proclamation and call it true without any testing at all, without any verification whatsoever. You're calling your opinion.
Every single bit of evidence we have for the mind suggests that it's entirely physical, Eric. If a spike gets driven through your brain,
that's not true either.
not saying it will. I'm just saying, like, hypothetically, if that was to happen, it would alter the way that you, if you survived it, it would alter the way that your consciousness is.
Well, the theory for that is that it could be the same way if you destroy a hard drive, it ruins the way it works with the computer, and yet that information is still there. It's the only thing that's interfered is that it can no longer access that information. The computer can no longer access the information, but the information is still there. In the same way, it could be that our brain is the hard drive to the hardware of our body, and that information is being relayed through the spirit. So when we look at quantum theory, and we look at the double slit experiment,
You're just saying that I'm claiming stuff, and then it goes to spirit, which is just a claim.
Yeah,
My
yeah,
claims are
I
backed
agree.
by
I agree.
all of the evidence and the
My
experts in
claim,
the fields.
yeah.
I'm not just claiming random shit like you are.
Well,
It's
no,
not the
actually,
same
you are
thing,
just
Eric.
claiming random stuff
Eric,
like I am.
Eric, it's not the same thing.
No, it is.
You
It's
haven't
exactly the
spent
same.
any time on this, dude.
I
And
haven't.
you dug into like a rabbit hole of like Kent
Dude, I've
Wilson
spent
shit for
years and
evolution.
decades on this, my friend.
And you wasted every second of it.
According to you.
Sorry, Eric, it sucks, but you wasted every second
Well,
of
that's
that.
that's not much of an argument for somebody that has absolutely zero.
Eric, you have failed.
put
You
on
have
the
spent
table.
years on this, and you have failed to
Is
provide
that your best argument?
Eric, do not interrupt me. You have spent years on this, and you have failed to provide a competitive hypothesis or an alteration to the theory of evolution that better explains the data or the competitive hypothesis that
Well,
better
there you
explains
go,
the data.
guys. That's how
You
he
have
justifies
failed
his
after
theory.
years of reading into this, Eric.
And this is how he justifies his untested theory. Not by answering to it, but by comparing me to
This
him.
is delusion, bro.
Okay, you can call it what you like. The point is, you still don't have any tested evidence to throw on the table to prove
You
anything.
are so smug and confident, but stupid, and I
No,
don't
that's
know how
fine.
to get through to you.
Well, you're certainly not going to upset me. That will fail. So if you want to try another method,
I'm not trying to upset you. I'm telling you that
okay.
you are so smug and confident and stupid that I have no idea how to get through to you on this.
You're not just denying evolution, you're also denying geology. Do you understand? You're denying geology.
Well, here's what you guys don't have. You don't have any evidence to prove that a single transitional fossil exists. Nothing tested at all, and yet you make the claim. You don't have any tested evidence to prove that any of us have a common ancestor, because you can't point to that common ancestor. You can't test its DNA. So you don't have, you've got plenty of ideas, but not a single one is scientifically tested. Not a single one of them is a scientific idea. It's all pure imagination. That's all you've got to put on the table.
You admitted you have Neanderthal DNA, right?
What's that?
Don't we have some Neanderthal DNA? You admitted?
Of course we have Neanderthal DNA. And you know
But
what
where's
that
the
proves?
traditional fossil?
Oh, well, hold on. Let's look at that. Is the Neanderthal a transitional fossil? What is a transitional fossil? A transitional fossil is a transition. Now, look, what is the definition of species? Anybody? Taco, want to field that? You want to give me the definition? I can give it to you if you don't know it.
I'm just bored, dude.
Yes, I would be too if I was losing my butt. But here's the definition of species for your
Nobody
audience.
can get through to you, dude. You are so delusional about this.
Well, that's
You've
okay.
spent years working on this.
Here-
You failed to provide a competitive scientific hypothesis or a competitive, or not competitive, but a alternative explanation of evolution that better explains the data that exists.
Is
And
this really all you've got to
you
offer
have-
your audience?
You have absolutely failed here, Eric.
Is that all you've got to offer to this conversation?
Yes, because
Okay,
it's
well, you brought
pointless
up
to converse
your-
with you about it
your
because you're
friend-
uneducated on the topic and you're
Okay.
claiming to be an expert about why evolution is wrong.
Well,
and
let's
you have
look at-
this like delusional
Yeah,
thought
you said that
process
like
going
1,000
on that's leading you to believe that evolution is wrong rather than action. And you're not even engaging with the scientific method. If you were engaging with the scientific method, you would actually
Oh,
be
right.
examining the data and providing
Okay.
alternative conclusions.
Now, your friend asked me to address the Neanderthal, and if you'll allow me, that's cool. If not, that's cool too.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. Now, define species. Anybody here, please. And if you don't want to, I will.
I don't know if this is what's
Okay.
useful right now.
The word species is the classification is over 300 years old. It predates Darwin. And the word species simply means that you have a group of like organisms that are capable of interbreeding and producing fertile offspring. That's all species are. So if we're capable of reproducing and we're just a like organism, and we can produce fertile offspring, then we are by definition a species. So you have dogs, wolves, for instance, gray wolves and dogs. They're all the same species. Doesn't matter if it's a Chihuahua or a Great Dane or a gray wolf, same species. And then you have the DNA of the Neanderthal, and you yourself admit that we have the DNA of a Neanderthal within Homo sapiens, meaning that at one point in time, we interbred and produced fertile offspring. And yet, you guys classify Neanderthal as a separate species to give the illusion of evolution where there is no evolution. They're the same species. So there we go. Now, if you'd like to get back to my argument about the universe, you've got two choices here. Either the universe, the singularity, created life and consciousness, which the singularity certainly didn't have any life forms within it. It had no consciousness. It had no imagination. It had no anything except for what? Little, I guess, enough matter to create what we've got to do, expand into what we've got today.
And now you're
On the other hand, you have a God who
this
does.
is the third time you've come back here after being hit off of this topic 2 times.
Thank you, sweetheart. No, this is the first time we've discussed this topic.
No, it's
So
not.
on the other, yes, it is. On the other hand, we do have the idea of a God who is conscious, intelligent, aware, and alive. Now, let me say something. I do have evidence for this too. In the modern cosmology, we have what's called dark matter and dark energy, and it's said that they have no idea what it is. It's something that is.
They actually do have ideas. People.
Well, they have untestable.
Help people.
This
Let's
is
get
really
some super chat questions.
I guess if you don't want me to,
This is really boring.
finish
I'm gonna go to bed. This is boring. I'm going to bed.
If you don't want me to finish this, I don't have to.
You can finish. I'm just
Okay.
at a
Okay.
loss that you came back here for the 3rd time.
Yeah, I'm hard to get rid of it. At any rate, and it's hard to answer my question. Everybody sees this, guys. It's hard to produce the evidence that I'm looking for because you can't. Now, let's look at dark matter and dark energy for a moment. It is omnipresent. Everywhere. Dark energy is everywhere. It is invisible. It is an invisible force of some sort that's holding all of the universe together while it's expanding the universe. And the funny
Can
thing
you name
is,
3 dark matter candidates?
the funny thing is, in the scripture,
Eric,
what we
can you
have
name
in
3 dark matter candidates?
dude, don't interrupt me, please.
Well, please name 3 dark matter candidates.
Well,
before we
please
can't
let me
move
finish
forward.
what I'm saying, and then ask me.
5, 4.
Go right ahead and do what you need to
3,
do, dude. I don't blame you for not letting me
1.
speak.
Eric, can you please name 3 dark matter candidates?
No, I'm going to present what I'm saying here first.
Please
and
name 3 dark matter
If
candidates
you don't
before
want to,
continuing.
let me talk. That's okay.
I mean, you've been talking a lot. I'm asking.
Yeah,
you to name
well, I've
3 dark
asked you to present one piece of credible evidence for your side, and you can't.
I don't need to. It's the.
Yeah, of course, you don't need to
scientific
test your
theories.
theories. You don't need to test your
supported by
imagination.
evidence in every aspect.
You don't need to
making shit up. I don't.
You can
care.
just make up whatever you
Can
need
you
to
name
make up and say it's
Can you name
science.
3 dark matter candidates?
What do you mean, 3 dark matter candidates?
Yeah, can you name 3 dark matter candidates? 3 of
Can't-
the ideas of what dark matter are that show that they don't have any that show that they do have an idea of what the dark matter is, and they've got different predictive models for it.
Okay. The main idea of dark matter is that you have invisible matter that is producing.
You have no idea what you're talking about, dude.
Oh, okay.
What are the names of 3 dark matter candidates?
I don't care what you want to name them. The main idea behind all of this is that dark matter is simply invisible matter that's producing gravity that they can't account for any other way. So there you go. That's the main idea behind dark energy, dark matter.
There's
Now-
like 4 different dark matter candidates.
Okay, well-
that could be applied to the standard
Okay.
lambda CDM, and then
Well,
there's
that doesn't
dark
take
matter
away.
candidate that
Oh.
Roger Penrose thinks is the case with CCC.
And what's that?
I can pull the Penrose one up real fast.
No. I want you to explain that. Because I think you're just
What do you want me to-
pulling it out of your butt. But that's me.
What do you want me to explain? The
What
dark
you
matter
just said.
candidate for Sir Roger Penrose?
Yeah, what you just said. I'm sure you got it up in front of you.
I can pull it up real fast.
I'm sure it already is. But go ahead.
I'm Googling it right now.
Okay. So you're Googling it.
It's so in Roger Penrose's.
He's Googling it, guys. Googling it.
I don't have the name of Erebons memorized, dude.
Okay, well, neither did
but
I.
it's
And you're calling me
You're
an
going to
idiot for
interrupt
it.
me every time I'm going to talk.
Well,
Holy
you just called me an idiot for what you're doing.
All right, I need a second. I'm going to take a quick break and play the music because we had a super chat to play the music. So I'm going to play the music. It takes like 2 minutes, and then we'll be back on stage. So just hang on for a minute while this plays.
Naturalistic, atheistic reality that's been revealed to all of sound mind through both natural and special revelation. Do you reject the self-evident truth of our shared naturalistic, atheistic reality that's been revealed to all of sound mind through both natural and special revelation? Or are you going to keep running, not responding to the question? This is what they do. They're terrified. They can't engage with it. This is what they do. They're terrified. They can't engage with it. This is what they do. They're terrified. They can't engage with it. This is what they do. They're terrified. They can't engage with it.
Okay. So I was explaining Erebons, which I'm probably pronouncing incorrectly, but Erebons are the proposed dark matter candidate by Roger Penrose for CCC, it turns into another. Basically, they existed prior to gravitons, and they turn into gravitons later on down the line, which is why they're dark matter. They no longer exist. And then somebody named a bunch of dark matter candidates, which I put up on the screen, and you couldn't even name one dark matter candidate.
Well, I certainly explained what the majority opinion is, but that's okay. The point is, you still have not put one piece of credible evidence that's been tested that shows you have even one transitional fossil or one common ancestor. And I think that's significant. It's not even one. You're calling your imagination tested science.
Why are you back on evolution when we were talking about the thing that you had addressed 3 times?
Then we started off with my point about the universe. That one of two things has to be true. Either that singularity always existed in one form or another, or God.
The singularity is just where the math breaks down. There was stuff prior to the singularity. It wasn't necessarily.
I'm talking about that pinprick. Right? You don't know what existed before the singularity.
Well, the singularity is where the math breaks down. You're overstating.
See, here's the thing. You don't know that there was even a singularity, let alone anything before the singularity.
The singularity is where the math breaks down because we don't have a complete
you claim that. But you don't know that, and you call your imagination science. So let's not do that.
Sir Roger Penrose has a model that calculates to before. I mean, it's not perfect, but it calculates to before the Big Bang.
Yeah, it's a model that's.
You have no idea what you're talking about. There
I
are
absolutely
models
do.
that exist that do what you're requesting.
Ask Penrose if that is a tested hypothesis, and he will tell you no, because there's no way to put that to the test. Okay?
Oh, man.
So imagination is cool, dude. Trying to figure it out is cool, but you can't call it tested science because it isn't. And if you don't know that, you don't know the first thing about science.
Dude. You can use mathematics to describe the universe.
But it's mathematics that tell you that the universe is a simulation. And yet you're denying that, so let's not be a hypocrite.
Oh, man. It's like a small fringe minority that think it's a simulation theory.
Well, no, it's not. We have the mathematics to prove it, and it's supersymmetry. Don't you know that? Dr. James Gates. Okay.
Supersymmetry doesn't mean simulation theory.
No, supersymmetry simulation theory is found in the mathematics of supersymmetry. Dr. James Gates, look it up.
Oh man.
Oh man.
That's not even the God thing, dude.
So,
this is so frustrating.
So here we go. Now, if I can,
you are so dense.
If I could get back to my original point. Either one of two things has to be true. If I might address your audience, one of two things must be true. Either this thing that was a singularity, a pinpoint of whatever, and expanded, either it always existed in one form or another, or there is a God. Okay? One of two things has to be true, that always existed. Now, you can only pass on that which you have. A single-celled organism, for instance, only gives rise to more single-celled organisms. That's all we could ever prove. So you can't, if you don't have if your singularity doesn't have any life within it, doesn't have any consciousness within it, you cannot say that it produced life and consciousness out of nowhere. You can say, you can imagine that something happened and that you have no idea what it was. And you can make all the claims in the world that it can produce consciousness, but you can't produce consciousness in the lab. So you can't say that's science. You can't produce life in the lab. So you can't say that that is science. So from scratch, that is. So what you have is this. All you have left then is the idea of a God. Now, if there is a living God, and I say that there is some evidence of
Eric,
that.
you're talking for me. You just spoke.
If you
gave
have,
two
if you
options,
have,
and then Eric,
if you have
if you
a
want to have
God
it
on the
back
other
and forth,
hand,
you have to stop over
a
talking.
God on the other
All
hand,
right, I need a
does
super
have-
chat to keep
a God on the other hand does
keep
have
this going. This is
consciousness.
too much. He's
A
not.
God would
he's
be
not
alive.
even letting me
So
respond
a God,
to any
do
points.
you know what
This is insane. How is he so broken?
So there you go, guys. A God who is alive and conscious and intelligence can go on to produce life that's conscious and intelligent.
Okay, so the point that I was trying to make was very simple. So you said that there were two options, which is a false dichotomy, even if you think it isn't. And then you also, because it could be everything popped into existence last Thursday, right? And it just appears that way. But and there's other options too that I've already covered. But in addition to that, you said all sorts of nonsense about abiogenesis and evolution, and none of that is related to the initial state. The initial state could be the case, and it could have still all arose, and those could be false. But the fact of the matter is, there's a preponderance of evidence for evolution and abiogenesis, and those are the current positions on the topic, and they are overwhelmingly supported. And you've done nothing to combat those except state that they're wrong, which I don't care about. We are talking about the initial state. The initial state is capable of explaining everything in the universe. And you're saying, no, it's not. I don't care about your ignorance.
Are you done?
And apparently Jim D thinks you're right, who's another theist. So great for that. Thank you for the super chat, Jim D. You're amazing.
Are you done?
Yes.
Okay. Well, the point is, you say I'm wrong when you have not one credible piece of evidence to put on the table to show that evolution occurred, to show that you have a common ancestor, or even a what do you call it, a transitional fossil. Not one tested piece of evidence. All you have is your imagination.
Millions of papers on this.
Millions of papers that none of them tested. So there you go. You got plenty of imagination to put on the table, but that's all you have to put on the table. Now,
Eric, this is delusion. There is peer review.
Peer review, yeah, and no test. Okay, no tests.
Oh man!
And if something isn't falsifiable, it's not science, dude.
So you're saying that because people can't turn a dog into dog into the next evolution, that you don't like a Pokemon, you don't believe that? No. What would you want to see in the lab, Eric?
That's not what I'm saying.
What would you want to see in the lab? What would you want demonstrated?
One piece of tested credible evidence.
What would be a piece of tested credible evidence so the audience knows?
The tested DNA of the Archaeopteryx and the theropod dinosaur you say it's descended from.
Is that the only thing that would convince you of evolution? What else would convince you of evolution?
You say we have a common ancestor with the chimp. Point to that common ancestor and show me its DNA to prove that it's a common ancestor or not.
Okay, hang on.
Now, let me show you what you do have. You have a lie in the classification of Neanderthal, where you classify Neanderthal as a cousin, a species all its own, when according to the definition of species, it is a like life form. And we did, in fact, and we know that we interbred and produced fertile offspring together. So by definition, we are the same species. They are not a cousin species. So what you've done there, or a group of scientists have done, they've lied about this, or not corrected it at the very least, to give the impression, the illusion of evolution where there is no evolution. And you're going to find that that's done with coyotes and dogs and wolves. Coyotes are a separate species according to the classification. when they can interbreed with dogs and wolves and produce fertile offspring. As a matter of fact, they're called core dogs, core wolves. Now, when we get back to, am I still here?
Sorry, I was just getting that pulled up.
Yeah.
There you
Nice
go.
picture, dude. But you don't have any tests showing that we are in any way evolved or cousin with, or that there is a common ancestor with anything up there that is not human. Not a single test. You've got pictures, you've got
Literally DNA tests, Eric. You were asking for DNA tests?
DNA tests for what?
Between chimps and humans and transitional species?
Yeah. Yeah, what you do have, you look at the DNA of the chimp and the DNA of the human, and you formulate the hypothesis that we have a common ancestor. But you can't point to the common ancestor, and you can't test its DNA to verify your hypothesis or to falsify your hypothesis. Don't have it. So all you have is imagination. All you have is science fiction.
Dude, you are blind and delusional.
What?
Look
The
at
fact
the
that they look
screen.
similar? The fact that they look similar doesn't change the fact that your imagination is not science.
This is a list of transitional or a page of transitional fossils, dude.
Okay, now show me the one that is its DNA has actually been tested and proven to be transitional. I just told you about the Neanderthal. The Neanderthal is not
We have that
transitional.
for
The Neanderthal is
a
simply
large amount of species.
According to the definition of species, Neanderthal is just part of our species. It doesn't matter that you classified
you're
it
using
wrong.
a false definition of species there, but
What? Show
several
me where
fossils
that's a false definition of species now. Now you're trying to change the 300-year-old definition of species to suit
why
your
would you not
imagination.
use a modern definition of species?
What? It's all biological, sexually reproducing animals. The definition of species are like creatures that are capable of interbreeding and producing fertile offspring. Now, if you want to change that to satisfy your own imagination and soothe your pride, feel free. You know, you're just going to look silly doing it in front of your audience.
There's literally DNA evidence on this. Like, if you've been researching, like,
There's literally
right now.
show me the tested DNA evidence that shows that any of these things are a common ancestor with mankind and chimp or whatever the case may be. Show it to me. You ain't got it.
I mean,
dude.
I don't need to. There's
Yeah, of
papers
course
on
you
this.
don't need to. Of course,
I put a
there's
paper
papers
in
on it.
chat.
There's papers on it, so I don't need to provide the tested evidence, even though there isn't any.
I mean, I just put a paper
That's
in
not
chat.
science, dude.
I just put a paper in chat, but this is
That isn't
scientific knowledge.
science. You have to test science.
It
you
is
don't get
tested.
you don't get a buy.
Do
just
you
because it's
understand the
your
predictive
imagination.
modeling that we discussed earlier?
You don't get a pass on this on the scientific method. You don't get a pass.
You don't get
on
a pass on the
falsifiability.
scientific method, Eric. I am fucking done with this nonsense. You can't fucking listen. You overtalk
Well, look
me.
at you.
You fucking
The cussing.
every
You've lost
time
the debate.
something is brought up, you go off on another tangent. This where we're at right now. This
Asking
picture
for your
up here-
tested evidence
Shut
is
up,
not a
Eric.
tangent.
So this picture up here, Eric, is the exact evidence you asked for. There's a scientific study in the side chat with the exact evidence you asked for, and there's more studies online and in all sorts of peer-reviewed journals if you just do the research on this topic. You're saying that you've been studying this for years. You have failed to provide a competitive hypothesis. You have failed to provide an alternative explanation for the scientific theory of, or for the data that the scientific theory of evolution is supporting. You have failed to provide any evidence for a God thing. You have failed to do absolutely any of the things that you're trying to do here. And in addition to that, when you're provided with the answer to your false dichotomy, you just go off on a tangent and say why it can't be right, and then you don't listen to anything that's being said back to you, and you continue back on a tangent. Bro, you are delusional, and you are not listening to any of the words that are coming out of my mouth, and it is very disappointing that you have been brain damaged this badly by your religion.
Howdy. It's good to see you. I didn't notice you here, Howdy. Good to see you. I happen to know Howdy somewhat here. It's good to see him. But listen, you can tell everybody you want to pass on the testability for your pet theories, and that's fine with me. You can declare that your imagination is science all you like, Taco, and that's fine with me. You just look silly doing so. Everybody in your
Eric,
audience
you
knows
are
what
the one that
scientific
appears
method is.
delusional here, and
Well,
you don't understand what's going on.
Everybody in your audience knows what scientific method is. They know it has to be testable and repeatable. And everybody
Eric.
here sees that you don't have the first thing testable to throw on the table
Eric,
as evidence.
this is delusion, bro.
Well, I agree. It's delusional on your part. So,
Eric.
yeah. So, there you go, guys. I think my work here is done for now.
I
What
have
do you
seen
think?
you on camera. I know what I'm dealing with, Eric.
Okay. It doesn't matter if you've seen me on camera. What you have not seen is any test at all of the DNA of these alleged transitional fossils and common ancestors that you can put on the table before me. Not one. And out of all the thousands of claims there of transitional fossils and common ancestors,
This in regards to your claim that evolution
Yes.
can't be true. When we
A
were
picture.
talking, why are you interrupting me again? When we were talking about the initial state of the universe versus a god monster bringing everything into existence, you brought this up for no reason. This is unrelated to that topic. Evolution has nothing to do with the initial state or a god causing everything to exist or be in the state that it is now.
Well, you're
It's
the one
totally unrelated, Eric.
You're the one that brought us there. So there you go. That's all right.
I mean, this kind of does have
if
to
you're
do
gonna
with
call,
this
if
stuff
you're going
being
to
in the
call
state
a
it is, like
picture,
humans being in the state we are now, right?
if you're going to
But
say that this picture
nothing
in
to do-
somebody's
stop
imagination,
interrupting me. Holy shit! You don't stop talking. This has nothing to do with the initial state of the universe. So this is a product of the initial state. We're talking about the initial state. That's where we have been in. That's where you went 5 times. And every time you get cooked on evolution, you go back there, and then you come back here, and then you go back there. You are stuck in an endless loop of delusion, Eric.
Okay. If you're going to call this picture tested evidence for your transitional fossils, the DNA that proves or disproves that falsifies the
I linked the
theory.
paper in chat. There's also lots of papers on
Yes.
this online and in peer-reviewed journals.
Yes, and not a single thing that's tested and credible.
And maybe if you're delusional and you just reject the scientific method.
Well, you're the one rejecting scientific method. It has to be testable, bro. You have to have those tests. You have to falsify, put your theories, your imagination to the test. That testability is the only thing that separates science fiction from science, your imagination from real science. And since you don't have a single tested piece of credible evidence to show that you actually have a transitional fossil by way of the DNA test, which is the only test possible that can falsify this claim, is since you don't have that, all you're left with is pure imagination. It's not incredulity, it's demanding scientific method, silly.
You have failed.
Of course, according to your
any
bias.
of your burdens.
I'm
You
not the
have
one that needs to
failed
bring forth the scientific
at
evidence.
having a conversation.
Okay.
You have failed.
Well, you
at
have a wonderful
years of research on
Okay.
evolution.
You have a wonderful evening, man. Let me just say goodbye to your audience. I'll say goodbye to you. My work here is done. Howdy, you have a wonderful day, buddy. I'll see you around Drop by
Welcome to
anytime.
atheism, brother. It's great to have you.
Howdy, I will be doing a live stream.
What do you think about that, Howdy?
I was zoned out. I think the last hour.
Oh wow, he is. Oh, that guy is delusional.